Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM19 story, The Head Coach with me, Daniel. It's season 9, episode 10, and today we finish off the season with our biggest game of the series so far. We're into our first European final, and we're looking for glory in the Europa League as we face the mighty Bayern Munich, managed by Diego Simeone. Depending on how this goes and our reputation over the summer, as well as jobs that become available, this could very well be our last game at Newcastle too, and we'd love to finish it with our second trophy of the year and our career as well. It would really help us leave with the Newcastle fans' blessing as we deliver something special on our final day. Of course, that's no guarantee. We were looking for jobs last summer and couldn't get one, but this year there seems to be a lot more that are becoming available, so I think it could be the right time. But we're going to worry about that after the match. Today's focus is solely on this final and whether we can try and get our first European trophy. The Europa League's a brilliant competition, and perhaps more importantly for Newcastle, it will guarantee a Champions League place next year, the second year in a row that would be for the club. If not, we'll settle for another year in the Europa League and try to go one better next season. So in the warm-up to the final, there's just a few things to show you. We've got Jamal Lascelles, who's doubtful for today. There's a couple of other injury worries as well. I'll show you those in a moment. They're not injured anymore, but they're players coming back from long-term injuries. If we go to the schedule to see the one game we played off camera since that Europa League semi-final, it was again against West Ham on the final day of the league season. We nicked it 2-1, despite a late rally from West Ham, and Liverpool went and lost at Southampton, which meant we leapt above them into 5th place in the league. So a really good finish for us again. The board were actually a bit underwhelmed. They said they're delighted that we finished there when we expected a top half finish, but the fact it looked like we were competing for the Champions League spots takes a little bit of the gloss off the success. I don't quite think it does, but they're entitled to their opinion. It's one of the reasons I want to go. I'm not particularly enjoying the work with the board here. We've had a mid-table budget. We had the third lowest net transfer spend in the Premier League this year, and we're also 14th in the league when it comes to wage budget compared to turnover. We're only spending around 40% of our turnover at the club on player wages and the playing staff, which shows why we're struggling to compete with the top sides. This year we were 23 points off the top of Man United. The top two are miles out of sight, and the best of the rest is Chelsea this year. The other important thing going into big games is to see how the squad's feeling, so let's go and look at the dynamic screen. It couldn't be much more perfect really. Everything's in excellent shape. The only player with an issue is Jamal Lascelles, but we've already agreed with him that he'll be leaving at the end of the year, and he's happy enough with that. He is a team leader, so we'll need replacing in the squad, but there are plenty of other highly influential players who could easily step up and take that role. If we go into the fixture though, it's the big day, the big occasion, and we really want to put all our focus on this match. Playing against such a historical European side is going to be a wonderful occasion for us, and we've got to try and deliver on the big stage to get ourselves a famous result. Let's see who the favourites for the match are. Of course it's Bayern Munich. They've won 5 games in a row. They've won the Bundesliga this year as well, and we're going to have a really tough task on our hands to try and get a result out of this one. Their hero at Anfield was Jose Enrique though. He's out with a lower back stress fracture, and Kingsley Coman, who scored the other one, is doubtful with a twisted knee. So all 4 goals they scored at Anfield were finished by players who aren't playing in this game, so that gives us a little bit of hope, although things could still be difficult. We've got a referee who's given no red cards this year in 16 matches. That's something that bodes well for the final, although Bayern Munich do sort of have a home advantage as we're playing over at Gelsenkirchen in Schalke's ground. So that's going to give them a slight advantage in terms of the fan base in the stadium, but I'd imagine that we're going to send plenty of fans over to give their best support for the Newcastle team. So let's look at the lineup we picked for today, as well as going through the other couple of concerns and dilemmas we had. Douglas Luiz, the hero of so many big games, he's not quite fit enough to start yet. He's just back from injury, so he's on the bench. The same really applies to Ezri Konsa, but we didn't have any other options. Declan Rice would have gone in at centre half, but obviously we need him in the holding role without Douglas Luiz, so it's going to be really quite difficult for us today as we're a little bit short of options around there. And then Florentin Bernard came back against West Ham. He played a friendly in between as well, so he's going to be match fit for today, though he probably won't manage the full 90. The only other thing that slightly surprised me, and it's not the sort of thing I normally miss, but Football Manager wouldn't be wrong, so it must have been updated in real life, is you get 12 subs for the Europa League Final. final, despite only having 7 in the rest of the competition. So I thought that was a little bit interesting. It's one of the things I normally quite like about the Italian league. You get more substitute options, so you can fill the bench with players, and then you've also got the option to get 2 or 3 youngsters in there too, which means if you are winning a game by 3 or 4, you can then give the young players more of a chance. So it's a good idea which should be used in more leagues, but it's here for the Europa League final, and we're going to try and take advantage today. So we've got the ever dependable David Raya in goal. He'll be the captain on the night. We've got Gomez and Lewis as the fullbacks, with Konza and Yanderson reunited in the middle. The first time in a couple of months we've had that. Declan Rice is in the Segundo Volante role, taking the place of Luis for today, and then it's familiar from that point forward. Billy Gilmore in the middle, Arzani, Barrett and Oliveira, the 3-man creative force behind Bernard up front. We've got loads of good options on the bench, but hopefully we'll be well ahead and won't need them, though against an opposition of this calibre, I think that might be difficult to ask for. But let's get into the game and see if we can win the Europa League. 4-2-3-1 for Bayern Munich, the familiar formation. We've got the similar one ourselves, just with that change for the Segundo Volante role. It's something we come up against quite frequently, probably the most common formation we face. They've got Timo Werner over on the right hand side, and this striker Bichkov, he's a really good player. He's got 26 goals for them in all competitions, and he looks a really quality elite striker. Russian international, scoring at nearly 1 a game, and his name looks familiar for some reason, but I can't quite work out why. So let's get into the team talk. Tell the lads that we want them to do it for the supporters. We always get that message from our assistant manager for a cup final, the same as we did for the FA Cup when we just joined and the Carabao Cup earlier this year. So let's see what the most appropriate one is. I really should be concentrating for this. Let's give them a good performance despite the odds being against us, and see if we can shock Bayern Munich, whose fans will probably be expectant. It's Bayern with the kickoff. They find Benali on the left, and I'm sure they'll have the attacks early. Not like this. Bichkov gets in. Konza with a brilliant saving challenge, just 10 seconds on the clock, and they're in 1-on-1 behind, but brilliant defending by the man who's back to fitness. Gomez is coming down the right. Can we create our first attack? Oliveira shoots from distance, and they've got Donnarumma in goal as well, the AC Milan youngster in real life. He's made a brilliant save there, and it's behind for a corner taken by Gilmore. He's headed away and back out to him. He cuts it into Arzani. His cross is blocked though, and Werner can counter-attack. It's going to be brilliant to watch this. 2 counter-attacking sides. We like to keep possession ourselves, but we don't mind breaking at pace. Timo Werner down the right doesn't lead to anything, and with 10 minutes gone after a frantic start, it remains goalless in the Europa League final. It's Bayern with a throw at right back. Timo Werner gets possession again. He goes back to Brett on the right back. Some unfamiliar names here as most of the team's regens. Bichkov again's the man we've got to watch out for though. Yanderson does just enough to get the ball back. Konza goes long downfield. The header's away by Bayern, but only as far as Barrett. He finds Bernard, beats one. Great challenge in the end, and now Bernard's got a knock. It's just a bruised knee, so he should be alright, but he definitely won't make 90 minutes now, so we're going to have to think about which striker we want to come on. Let's hope he gets up though. He's rolling around in agony. It's just a bruise, son, you'll be alright, and hopefully he'll get up and score from the corner. Though now he's asked for treatment, he's going to have to go off the pitch. So that's that expectation gone, but if the corner comes in and we score, all will be forgiven. Right, we're back. The corner's finally being taken. Gilmore delivers it, headed away by Marisic, and now it's Rosenberg on the left-hand side. He clears it long down the line. Bayern just happy to get rid of the danger. Breton coming forward on the right for Bayern. He gives it to Bichkov. Now Ronneberg in the middle. Brilliant challenge, and Bernard can start a counter. Arzani to the edge, into Oliveira. His shot's blocked and behind for a corner. We're really going on, picking up the pace now. We're starting to look like the more threatening side. Arzani's corner doesn't beat the first man again, but it deflects back to Declan Rice on the edge. He finds Konza. Gilmore plays a 1-2 with him, and it doesn't look like we can break down this impenetrable wall that Bayern have set up in front of their box. It's Raya with a goal kick. We're back with another highlight that starts with us on the ball. Konza gets the ball down to Gilmore. Don't want to give it away back there. I know we like to play football, but you don't want to concede possession in your own third. Gilmore's charging forward with it though, carrying the team forward. He finds Arzani on halfway, and he's gone charging off down the right, but he's been challenged by Milan, and it's back to the Bayern keeper. Donnarumma clears long. Bichkov knocks it down though. Barrett gets there first. He's got 2 men running off him. One's Bernard, but he tries to shoot first time and it's blocked. A little bit greedy with that effort. Yanderson with the ball at the back again. It's all Newcastle at the moment, but we may regret not taking advantage if we don't get a goal on the board soon. Arzani to the byline on the right. Deflects away from the box and Werner clears, but Yanderson can mop up on halfway again. Konza recycles possession. Goes long, but it's headed away only as far as Barrett. Barrett Barrett loses out to Werner again though. It's a frantic game in possession, both sides panicking on the ball and none really creating good chances. Breton coming forward though, Janderson heads away and now Ronnie Bird's got it 30 yards out. He finds Van Surenman on the left hand side, delivers into the middle, Beachkoff beats Raya to it, and again Raya's made a mistake in a big game. We are behind to Bayern Munich with their first shot on target, and with 25 gone, there's a lot of work to do to come back. It's starting to take the same sort of shape as the FA Cup semi-final, where we threw the game away against Chelsea, despite dominating it in the early stages. Jamal Lewis has gone off injured now, the one position we don't have a strong backup option, and it seems like it's all going wrong now. Things are conspiring against us. We have to bring on Matiju, it's our only other option, and we're going to get back into the game and hope we can find a way back into it. It's Valentin Beachkov who needs closing down. We've gone and organised that, but now Bayern have got a corner and the lads have just gone flat. They're going to take it with an in-swinger. It's going to be delivered into the middle, but we haven't even seen it. It's a little bit strange. Matiju with a throw on the left to Barrett. He finds Oliveira. 25 yards out, lost it again. We're just a bit slow in possession now. It seems like we've really lost confidence from the goal, despite the fact we dominated to that point. Matiju, the subs, missed a header. He's run over it and let Werner in, but he has recovered there, although Werner still somehow manages to come out with the ball. Milan from the edge, Beachkov into the left. Bernali scores, but he's offside, and thankfully we survive at 1, and we've got to get to the break without conceding again, or this cup final's pretty much over. There is the whistle, then Bayern lead 1-0 at the break. An injury to Jamal Lewis, the one player we haven't got real good cover for, and unfortunately at half time we've really been affected by the goal and we've got to try and pick the lads back up again. We're going to assertively encourage them because they just need a bit of belief again. They were playing really well, we've just got to find that final pass and create some chances. We've got a few players who are struggling with their mentality in this one, so hopefully the experienced lads can carry them through. We might still need to bring on Douglas Luiz, even though he's not really fit enough. He's been the man to produce so many special moments in big games, and I'm sure he might do it again. Joe Gomez has got a knock now on the right hand side. He's got a bruised ankle. Hopefully he'll be alright as well. But Beachkov's in down the middle. There's 2 in the box. He doesn't need them. He beats the man. He hits the woodwork and Konza clears. We're going to make one other little sub now. We're going to change Matiju to a support role. Just a small tactical tweak so he doesn't get caught up the field. He hasn't got the same ability for attacking as the left back, so there's no point having him up there anyway. Matiju gets the ball into Arzani. Can we create a chance and get level? Matiju on the byline. The cross is awful. It's blocked by the man and cleared away. I think we're coming up against a side with real professionalism here, and Bayern are just going to take the game away from us now. Bernali gets the shot in at the back post, but he's offside again. Raya had made the save, but it didn't really matter. I'm devastated he's going to cost us the game. He's made an awful mistake at the back for the second time this year, and on both occasions it's been really big games. We've got a warning to close Timo Werner down, so we'll do that, and with 20 minutes to go we'll make some subs. We've only got 2 left now because of that injury in the first half, so our hands are tied a little bit, but we will try and make the best changes possible. We're going to take a big gamble up front and bring on Mauricio Zia for Bernard. He's been in electric form in the league and in other games he's played, so I'm hoping he'll be able to deliver today. And then on the right hand side I'm going to bring on Lavinas for Arzani, just because going for a winger will allow more crosses into the box. Hopefully that'll work, we'll soon find out. I'm going to do the same with Barrett on the left hand side actually, put him to his preferred winger role. Now we haven't got an overlapping fullback, it's pointless him cutting inside. 20 minutes to go, we've made the other 2 subs, and let's see if they make any difference at all. It's Bayern with a throw on the left into Milan. Gilmour wins it back. Oh, Matiju, what are you doing, son? You've got to come on and focus. He's completely missed the header, but luckily Werner absolutely smashes it wide. We've really got away with one there. It's Declan Rice who just passes it back to the left back. Now Milan gives it to Marisic, and Bayern can surge forward again. He's had a really poor game at the back there. The 2 midfielders have really struggled. We would have loved to have had a fit Douglas Luiz, but we can't bring him on because even if we get level, he's then got to play about an hour. It's Barrett charging in, no one challenges him, but his shot's poor and deflected, and Donnarumma picks it up and he's delighted with that. Didn't have to dive to either side, the shot was straight at him in the end. We've got 10 to go, so we're going to go attacking. We're going to tell the lads to push forward and just see if they can produce anything at all to try and get us an equalising goal. It's Bayern with an in-swinging corner, 5 minutes left. If we concede here, it's game over. Konza's had a really good game at the back, he blocks again, and from the edge another man throws himself in front of it. There really really working hard to keep it at 1. Maya finds Maricic. Bayern have got so much time on the ball and they're just seeing out the game professionally. They've got a throw on the left and we've got a couple of other bits of advice. We've taken them and now Bayern have got it 20 yards out. David Raya makes a good save to his left and we really need to push forward and try and create a chance. We're back with Benali on the left-hand side for Bayern. He finds his left-back who's cut inside, it deflects to Beck who's offside, and we just don't look like creating a chance. It's so frustrating now with 3 minutes to go. We're going to change some of the tactics. We're going to go a little bit more direct. We've got to take the option now to get the ball forward, as playing short doesn't seem to be working, as we keep giving the ball away. We're going to add some attacking width to our play, as we've now got 2 wingers on the pitch as well. In transition we can't go any quicker, and out of possession we're pressing high already. So we've just got to see the last 4 minutes, can we create that one golden chance? If not, we're going down in the Europa League final. We've got a corner as the 3 minutes are up. Ziya's there, but he just loses out. The Bayern forward gets there and gets the header away, and it's won them the game. A 1-0 defeat in the Europa League final. No shame in that against Bayern Munich, but it's devastating that in an evenly matched game, we've lost out due to one individual error. It's David Raya, who's been a hero so long. I'm pretty sure I described him as ever dependable when naming the lineup, and that's a regret I'll probably carry with me. I think we've probably reached the end of the line with Newcastle. There's not really much development left in this side. Lots of players are playing in their prime. The likes of Raya, Konza, Lascelles, they're all wanting to move on. Declan Rice and Louise, they're all nearing that 30 years of age, and it's going to be really hard to regenerate that squad when our board aren't giving us any money to play with. We've got a lower mid-table budget and it's really difficult to succeed. Yes, we had a brilliant squad here. We've got a fantastic director of football who's brought in some of the best free transfers and cheap deals you'll ever see, but we haven't got much more left in the tank, and I think we've got to look for a big move this summer. So hopefully we'll be able to get that, but that's going to be an interesting one for next season. Will we be at Newcastle at the start of the year? Let's quickly look at what the media have said about the game. Bayern lift the Europa League. You can see from the stats it was an almost perfectly even match. Jamal Lewis is injured, he's out for a month. Doesn't matter now though at the end of the year. We got £4 million into the bank and the payout to the squad is £1.5 million out of that for finishing runners up in the competition. If we look at the review of it, Red Star Belgrade were the biggest underachievers, but we've been marked as overachievers, and that shows just how good a job we've done to get to the final. We'll deal with the press conference off camera, but let's look at the end of season review. It's what we always do at the end of the year, and it might be a goodbye to some of these players. Some of the older ones at the club will be moving on, and we may well not be here next year. So let's put them in order of selection info. We'll see who's made the most appearances this season. It's Joe Gomez, remarkably. He's made 51 appearances at right back. Again, our fullback areas haven't had the strongest backups, which is why these guys have played so much. Yanderson and Konza with plenty too. Douglas Luiz is up there with 50. Bernard 45 and Raya 44. So many stalwarts in the top half of that team. We brought another youngster through from the youth intake and giving him 4 appearances this year. That's Dave Casey. We're delighted with his contribution as he continues to develop, and Martin Chapman made 15 appearances as well as we continue to produce good players at Newcastle. In terms of goals, just one man reached 20. That was Florentin Bernard, but the backup strikers Ziya and Greenwood with 13 and 11 respectively. That's a brilliant total for us, our 3 strikers equaling 44 goals. On the wings we've had contributions from all the attacking midfielders. We've got Barrett and Arzani with 10 apiece, and the same for the number 10 Oliveira, who really improved in the second half of the year, and his backup man Ranzan got 9 assists and 9 goals too. We can't ask for much more than that. If we go to assists, top of the pile is Adriano Lavinas, only started 19 games, and you can see why we brought him off the bench in that final. 12 assists in those minimal appearances. His crossing ability is really unrivaled. We got Jamal Lewis charging forward from left back. He's got 12 assists from the wide area as well, and Oliveira's the other man past double figures. He's got 11 with his backup Ranzan getting 9. So plenty of players contributing. Dave Casey got his 1 goal as well, I forgot to mention that. And in terms of average rating, again the season's filled with players with a rating above a 7, and most of the ones that are under are 6.97 or above, so they're pretty much on the verge of it. Just a few disappointments. Christian Rivera didn't have the best season, though he did have to play in the holding role a lot due to injuries, which he isn't completely natural at. He's the one player out of the first team, aside from Matiju, who we know will be going, that our director of football hasn't offered a new new deal to. His one runs out next summer, so I'm a bit interested to see if he goes in the summer or if he'll offer him a new contract. And finally, now we've looked at the squad, we'll finish on the competition screen for this part of the review. You can see we got to the Champions League group stages and lost out. We got to the Europa League Final, as you're obviously aware if you've watched this episode. We had a disappointing FA Cup semi-final defeat, but we did win the Carabao Cup, and that is the thing we have to remember from this year. We won our first major trophy of the series, and our first trophy at all in this series actually, so it's a really big achievement and a really big year, and our reputation has increased now up to 3.5 star. So we're going to try and look for jobs in the summer. If we go to the job security so you can see what's available, the Liverpool job's currently there, that's quite a big one. 2 clubs in game that have really been improving, Sevilla in the top half of La Liga, and then Mainz in the top half of the Bundesliga. But looking aside from that, the very insecure job is AC Milan. It's the one out of the lot I really like the look of. I'd love to go and manage over in Serie A and restore Milan to their former glory. We've got RB Leipzig, who are at the top end of the Bundesliga, and Manchester City as well. They're all big clubs that we couldn't say no to realistically. So it looks like they're the jobs we're fighting for in the summer. It's going to be an interesting one. And for the first time, I have genuinely no idea who I'll be managing at the start of next year. We had a little thought last summer that we might be on the way, but we knew in our heart of hearts we'd probably still be here. This year it's completely 50-50. I have absolutely no idea which club we'll be at. So obviously it will be an interesting start to season 10, and I hope you'll come along and join me for that in a couple of days' time. But if you did enjoy this episode, please put a thumbs up on the video. Let me know what you thought of our performance in the Europa League Final and our season generally. I'm really pleased to get the first trophy of the series out the way. In the short series we did like this in FM18, we were still managing in Northern Ireland in season 6, and then got our big move towards the end of that year to the Scottish Premier League. So I'd certainly say we're ahead of our normal schedule based on previous years, but it doesn't mean anything if we don't get a big move and start winning trophies soon. It's all good managing big clubs or in big leagues, but if we don't win titles, we haven't succeeded in this career. Let me know out of the jobs you've seen which one you think would be best for us in the summer. Obviously there's no guaranteed we'll get offered all of them, or any of them in fact, but if we do get a choice, which one do you think's best? I'm the most tempted by AC Milan because of the rich history and how easy it looks to restore their squad. In terms of Manchester City and Liverpool, they've both got really ageing squads, so that would make those ones a bit more difficult unless we had absolutely monstrous budgets. Subscribe to the channel for daily FM19 content from my 2 long-term stories, this one The Head Coach, and our other series Part of the Furniture with Torquay United. That one's a 1-club challenge, and the start of season 10 has led to some momentous moments in the series, so if you haven't caught up with that one yet, then please do go back and check it out. There's also some weekly content every Friday on the channel for some other sports games over the spring months. The first of 3 I'm looking to play is Snooker 19. The first episode of that career came out last Friday, so if you are a fan of other sports games, then do pop along and check out that career series as well. But a massive thanks for watching and your continued support with the series. I really do appreciate it, and I hope to see you at the start of next year, where we may well have a new job.